So the northern plains is the next important physiographic divisions of India, which we are going to start actually. Okay, and this northern plains or this topic is from chapter number 2, structure and physiography, from the book India Physical Environment. Okay, so the northern plains is one of the most widespread physical feature of our country, which is the most fertile area of our country as well. Okay, and most of the agricultural practice of our country is being done in this northern plains. Okay, so we are going to study in details about this northern plains. The northern plains are formed by the alluvial deposits brought by the rivers, the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. So basically, the northern plains, okay, it is made up of alluvial deposits. That means the alluvium deposits are there in the northern plain region. Okay, and these alluvium deposits, the alluviums has been brought down by the three major rivers of our country. That is the Indus River, the Ganga River, and the Brahmaputra River. Okay, these are the three important rivers of our country which are mainly responsible for the formation of the northern plains. Okay, means they have led to the formation of the northern plains actually. The northern plains, they extend approximately 3,200 kilometers from the east to the west, and the average width of this plain varies between 150 to 300 kilometers. Okay, so basically the northern plains, it extends approximately 3,200 kilometers from the east to the west. Okay, from the eastern side to the western side, the total length of the northern plains is 3,200 kilometers. That means starting from Assam, from the last part of Assam till Punjab, okay, the northern plain is 3,200 kilometer long length, and the width of the northern plains, it varies 150 to 300 kilometers. Okay, so 150 kilometer width is there basically the eastern part, like in the state of Assam and all. And as we move towards the west, towards this Punjab, Haryana and all, Uttar Pradesh, the width it increases up to 300 kilometers. The maximum depth of alluvium deposits varies between 1,000 to 2,000 meters. And the depth of the alluvium deposit, that means as I have already said, that the northern plains is made up of the sediments brought down by the rivers. Okay, and these sediments are known as the alluvium. Okay, so the depth of this alluvium is around 1,000 to 2,000 meters. Okay, is around 1,000 to 2,000 meters actually. That means if we dig for 1,000 to 2,000 meters, okay, we will get the alluvium deposits brought down by the river Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. Okay. So the northern plains is the most widespread physiological divisions of our country. It covers a total area of 7 lakh square kilometers. Okay, it covers a total area of 7 lakh square kilometers. From the north to the south, they can be divided into three main zones, and these northern plains of our country can be divided into three main divisions, into three main zones. Okay, that is the Bhabar, the Terai, and the alluvium. Okay, means first the mountains are there, that is the Himalayan regions are there, and where the Himalayan region ends, from there the northern plain starts. Okay, so from there where the north, like the Himalayan ranges ends actually. Okay, the northern plain starts, and this northern plains is divided into three divisions actually. Okay, that is the Bhabar, and then the Tarai, and then the alluvial plains. Okay. The alluvial plains can further be divided into Khadar and Bhangar, and even these alluvial plains, okay, the third division of the northern plains can again be further divided into Khadar and Bhangar. Okay, so we are going to discuss in details about the Bhabar, about the Terai, and about the subdivisions of this alluvial plain, which is also known as the Khadar and the Bhangar. See, first the Bhabar. Okay, what is this Bhabar actually? The Bhabar is the zone. Okay, the Bhabar is the part of the northern plain, okay, which lies just below the Himalayas actually, just from the foothills of the Himalaya, means where the Himalayan part it ends, the part of the northern plains which starts is known as the Bhabar belt. And in this Bhabar belt, okay, mostly the sands, okay, the pebbles, the stones are mainly deposited actually. Okay, so the Bhabar is a narrow belt ranging between 8 to 10 kilometers parallel to the Shivalik foothills at the break of the slope. So basically the Bhabar is a narrow belt. Okay, it is a narrow belt of the narrow belt where the belt ranges between 8 to 10 kilometers. Means the width of the Bhabar is around 8 to 10 kilometers, and it runs parallel to the Shivaliks, parallel to the foothills of the Himalayas. Okay, means where the Himalayas end, from there 8 to 10 kilometers towards the south actually. Okay, a long narrow, you can say a narrow landscape actually is known as the Bhavar actually. Okay. As a result of this, the streams and rivers coming from the mountains, they deposit heavy materials of rocks and boulders and at times disappear in this zone. Okay, so this Bhabar belt is a zone where the streams and the rivers, okay, they disappear. Many of the streams and the rivers which originate from the Himalayan mountain ranges, they flow from the Himalayan mountain ranges, and when they reach this Bhabar belt, actually, they disappear actually because this Bhabar belt is like mainly filled up with the huge big sediments, sands, okay, stones and all. So the river, instead of flowing from the surface, they flow from the underground actually. Okay, that is why it is said that the rivers or the streams, they disappear. Okay, as a result of this, the streams and the rivers coming from the mountains, they deposit heavy materials of rocks and boulders and at times disappear in this zone. Okay, and after this belt, after the Bhavar belt is 8 to 10 kilometer width, and after the Bhavar belt, okay, there is the Terai belt. So the Terai belt, it lies south of the Bhabar belt. It lies to the south of the Bhabar actually. Okay. South of the Bhabar is the Terai belt with an approximate width of 10 to 20 kilometers where most of the streams and rivers re-emerge without having any properly demarcated channel, thereby creating the marshy and the swampy conditions known as the Terai. Okay, so towards the south of the Bhabar, just south of the Bhabar belt is the Tarai belt. And this Tarai belt is a zone of 10 to 20 kilometer width. Okay, the zone is around 10 to 20 kilometer width where the streams and the rivers, they re-emerge actually. Okay, means the small streams and the rivers which have disappeared in the foothills of the Himalayas. That means when they enter the Bhavar belt, they flow from underground, okay, from the subsurface, and in this Terai belt, they again re-emerge. Okay, they again re-emerge, and in this belt, okay, in this Terai belt, the area is very swampy in nature. Why is swampy in nature? Because here the percentage of water composition, okay, the percentage of water composition in the soil is very much higher, and this is why the area is swampy in nature, and swampy as well as marshy in nature. Okay, and in this Terai belt, we can find a huge, you can say, dense vegetation cover actually. Okay, means the forest cover has developed well in this Tarai belt actually. So this has a luxurious growth of natural vegetation and houses a varied wildlife. So basically this Tarai belt is a particular area, okay, the Tarai belt, this has a luxurious growth of the natural vegetation. In this Tarai belt, the natural vegetation has flourished. That means the different types of forest has grown here because of the swampy nature of the soil, adequate amount of this alluvium deposits and all. And in this forest, we can find a variety types of wildlife, actually different types of wild animals, they live in this region actually. Okay, so even in our part actually, in this part also, we say the Tarai and the Duars actually, isn't it? So this Tarai and the Duars are actually this part of this Bhavar and the Tarai belt. Okay, the Duars, what we say is actually a part of the Bhavar belt, and the Tarai, which we say the Tarai region, actually it is a part of this, the actual Tarai belt. Okay, as because this part, okay, the entire like some of the foothills of this area, North Bengal and all, they lie in the foothills of the Himalayas. Okay, so here this Bhabar and the Tarai belt is very much prominent actually. Okay. The north, the south of the Terai is a belt consisting of old and new alluvium deposits known as the Bhangar and the Khadar respectively. And then towards the south of the Terai belt, we are having the alluvial plains, the main alluvial plains actually. Okay, it is also a part of the northern plains, but here the main alluvial deposits are there where actually the land is utilized for agricultural practice. Okay, but this alluvial plain, okay, is mainly divided into two subdivisions. That is the Bhangar and the Khadar. The Bhangar and the Khadar, these are the two subdivisions of this northern plains. Okay. Now, what is this Bhangar and what is this Khadar actually? The Bhangar are the old alluvial deposits and the Khadar are the new alluvial deposits. Okay. Or you can say that the Bhangar is a part of the Bhangar is the old alluvial soil and Khadar is the new alluvial soil actually. Okay, so every year the river during the flood season and all, the rivers, they bring along with them the sediments, and all. Okay, so these sediments get deposited in the river beds and all. Okay, So year after year, what happens? The sediments are being deposited. Suppose this year the flood has taken place, the sediments will be deposited. The next year again the flood will again a new layer of sediments will get deposited. So like this way, year after year, the sediments got deposited in different geological times. Okay, and the low lying like this particular area later on turned to be old actually. It became old and it came to be known as the Bhangar. And in this Bhangar belt actually, the soil is not so much fertile. Okay, in this Bhangar belt, the soil is not so much fertile. Here, the soil is coarse in nature, where we can find the pebbles, that is the conker-like formation. Okay, small pebbles are there. Okay, and the soil is not so much suitable for doing agriculture. Whereas, on the other hand, the Khadar belt is mainly formed of the new alluvial deposits. Okay, the belt, the Khadar alluvial plain is mainly formed of the new alluvial deposits, where, you can say that new like during the flood season actually, the fertile alluvium which is brought down by the rivers, they get deposited and the soil is renewed every year. That is, the Khadar belt is renewed every year, which makes this Khadar belt very suitable for agricultural practice. Okay, and most of the agricultural practice is being carried out here in this Khadar belt actually. Okay, so this is what about the subdivisions of the northern plains actually. So the northern plains can be broadly subdivided into three major belts. Okay, from the north to the south, that is the Bhabar, the Terai, the Bhabar, the Terai, and the northern plains. The northern plains is again further subdivided into Bhangar and Khadar. Okay, so these plains have characteristic features of mature stage of fluvial erosional and depositional landforms such as sandbars, meanders, oxbow lakes, and the braided channels. So these plains, they have a characteristic features of the mature stage of fluvial erosion. That means the rivers, which flow through these northern plains and all, though they have reached their maturity level actually. Okay, means fluvial erosion means the erosion caused by the activity of the rivers actually. Okay, and the depositional landforms has been formed here. Means the rivers, they carry along with them the sediments and all. They deposit the sediments, and because of this deposition of the sediments, many types of new small landforms has developed, which are known as the sandbars, which are known as the meanders, which are known as the oxbow lakes, and the braided channels. Okay, so these are the different land features which are developed, in this northern plains and all. Apart from this, an extension of the northern plain is also found in the valley, like in the plain areas of Assam. Okay, in the plain areas of Assam, an extension of the northern plain is there, and it is known as the Brahmaputra plain. It is known as the Brahmaputra plain. The Brahmaputra plains are known for the riverine islands and the sandbars. Okay, and these Brahmaputra plains are known for the riverine islands and the sandbars. Okay, here the river, like the Brahmaputra plains, they form the riverine island. Riverine island means the islands which are formed by the rivers. Okay, so one of the most famous, you can say, one of the most important famous riverine island of the world is Majuli Island. Okay, the Majuli Island is one of the most fertile riverine island which has been formed by the river Brahmaputra, is found in this region. Okay, and most of these areas are subjected to periodic floods and shifting river courses, forming the braided streams. So basically, in this part of this plain, actually, in this part of the Brahmaputra plain, okay, every year the flood takes place. Okay, every year the flood takes place, and the river, it shifts its course. The river, it changes its course. That means if the river is flowing from this area this year, because of the flood, the river may flow from the another area in the next year actually. Okay, so floods are very common in the Assam plain or in the Brahmaputra plain, and even in the news and all, we come to know that every year the Assam gets flooded actually, especially the Kaziranga National Park, it gets flooded, and many of the animals, they die, isn't it? We come to know about this, okay, from the news channels and all. The mouth of these rivers, these mighty rivers, also form some of the largest deltas of the world. For example, the famous Sundarban Delta. Okay, and the rivers which flow through these northern plains, that is the Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra, and many other tributaries of these rivers actually, okay, they form the largest deltas of the world. Okay, before draining into the Bay of Bengal, the rivers, they deposits, the alluvium deposits and all, okay, they form the deltas. Okay, and there are some deltas which are some of the largest deltas of the world actually, like the Sundarban Delta. Okay, The Sundarban Delta is one of the largest delta in the world, and it has a rich diversity, okay, of flora and fauna. Okay, means different types of plants and animals can be found in this Sundarban Delta, and especially it is famous for the Royal Bengal tigers. Okay. Otherwise, the northern plains is a featureless plain with a general elevation of 50 to 150 meter above the mean sea level. So basically, the northern plain is a flat land where the average elevation is only 50 to 150 millimeter. So 150 meter actually. Okay, means the height of this northern plain ranges from 50 meter to 150 meter above the sea level. Okay, and there is no such means differences in the physical features within this northern plain region actually. Okay, the states of Haryana and Delhi, they form a water divide between the Indus and the Ganga river system. So basically the state of Haryana and Delhi, which is a part, okay, of this northern plains, they form the water divide between the river Indus and the river Ganga actually. Okay, it forms the water divide between Indus and Ganga. Indus and Ganga basically, water divide basically means a particular area, means a uplifted area from where the water of the rivers, it flows in different direction. Okay, so from Haryana and Delhi only we can see that this part, Haryana and Delhi, is an uplifted area from where, from the western, northwestern part of Haryana and Delhi, okay, we can see that the Indus River flows, and from the eastern part of this, southeastern and eastern part of this Haryana and Delhi, the Ganga River flows actually. Okay, so it like acts like a water divide actually. Water divide basically refers to an uplifted area, a highland from where the river flows in two different directions. As opposed to this, the Brahmaputra river flows from the northeast to the southwest direction before it takes an almost 90-degree southward turn at Dhubri before it enters into Bangladesh. Okay, and as opposed to this actually, okay, like in case of Haryana and Delhi, it is a water divide and the water flows towards the west or towards the east. Okay, the Indus, it flows towards the west, and the Ganga, it flows towards the east actually. Okay, but the river Brahmaputra, it is not like it does not flow in the eastern like side actually, but the river Brahmaputra, it comes from the eastern side and it flows towards the southwest side actually. Okay. As opposed to this, the Brahmaputra river, it flows from the northeast to the southwest direction before it takes an almost 90-degree southward turn at Dhubri before entering into Bangladesh. Okay, so basically it flows from the northeast part towards the southwest direction, and then ultimately it takes a 90-degree bend. Okay, and from Dhubri, Dhubri is the name for place in Assam. From Dhubri, the river Brahmaputra, it enters Bangladesh. Okay, and after entering Bangladesh, the river Brahmaputra and Tista, they join together, and these two rivers, after joining together, they join the river Ganga, and they ultimately drain into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so this river valley plains have a fertile alluvial soil cover which supports a varieties of crops like the wheat, rice, sugarcane, and jute, and hence supports a large population. So basically, these river valleys, okay, the Ganga River Valley, the Brahmaputra River Valley, the Indus River Valleys, and all, okay, they have a fertile alluvial soil. Okay, in these river valleys, the fertile alluvial soil is present. Okay, and this fertile alluvial soil, it helps in growing different types of crops such as wheat, rice, sugarcane, jute. Okay, and in this part, okay, in this part of the northern plains, we can find a huge population of our country. They live, a higher concentration of the population lives in this northern plains actually. Okay, so basically the entire northern plain region, starting from Punjab and Haryana till Assam, okay, it is the most thickly populated part of our country actually. Okay, means in India's population, this part of the northern place is highly densely populated. Okay, means the population is very high. The land is mainly used for agricultural purpose. Here, better transportation is there. Okay, as because the land is fertile. Okay, industries has developed here. Means there is a more pressure. Okay, of industries, more pressure of agriculture, more pressure of human beings, and all in this northern plains only. Okay, so the northern plains is the most important part of our country actually. Okay, from where most of the, like you can say, agricultural production of our country is, most of the agricultural production, it comes from the northern plain region. Okay. So this is what about the northern plains as a physiographic division of India.